Hey guys, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. So here I am back for my October, currently inked progress report, where I'm going to take you through how I felt about all of my fountain pen and ink pairings, but also take you through some writing samples, as well as my progress update when it comes to how many pens and inks I've acquired or gotten rid of or used. Let's get started. First pen and ink combination is this gorgeous Zodiac Pen Co. in the Aries model, which is in the Arabian Nights Koi, and this is in a matte finish, and I absolutely adore just the way that this pen looks. And this has a extra fine Yovo nib. So in terms of my rating system, I actually have to remind myself. So I do ink, and then I do flow, and I also do comfort level on a score out of 10. And the ink in here is Diamine Jingleberry, which is part of the Inkvent calendar from 2022. So for ink, I'm actually going to give the ink well, there's nothing wrong with the ink. I'm going to give the ink a 10 because it's a gorgeous color. It flows really well. So the flow as well in it, I'm going to give a 10. Because it's, for me, I prefer a little wetter ink. And then comfort level, I'm also going to give this a 10. Ooh, 10 out of 10 overall. The pen model is very comfortable in my hand. So this is the Aries model. I could write more than 2 pages with this comfortably. And the ink is so pretty and legible. It has great shading and actually has above average flow in this extra fine nib. Plus the matte finish on this Aries model is just so silky smooth. So that is the first pairing of my Zodiac Pen Co. Aries model in the Arabian Nights Koi. The next pen from the October lineup is this Hines pen. I don't even know what the material is because I bought this at the San Francisco Pen Show, and they said it was a one-off from a subscription box that they had purchased from I think it's Mackenzie Penworks, who does the diamond cast material. And what I love about this is that it also has an extra fine nib, but it's also got that coated pink. What did they call it? Pepto-Bismol pink. And I was sold. And this has been tuned and smoothed by Jim Hines himself. The ink color is absolutely gorgeous, but it can be different depending on how long the pen has been in use. So I find that actually the color isn't always consistent. The flow is dry to average flow, and the comfort level was actually affected by the flow of the ink. The longer that I use this for, the drier it felt, and it felt like I had to grip my pen tighter and press a little bit harder with the nib for better ink flow, which is why I scored it an 8 for the ink, an 8 for the flow, and comfort, and 9. So that is the Hines pen in the unnamed model with Ferris wheel press Spadina Rose. The next pen is my Esterbrook SD in Petrified Forest, and this currently has Diamine Ancient Copper, goodness. And this also has an extra fine nib. If you remember from my currently inked, there were many extra fine Yovo nibs in this lineup. So I gave the ink a 10 and the flow a 10 and the comfort level of the pen a 10. So the ink is a fantastic kind of darker orange color with a lot of dimension, and it has great shading even in an extra fine nib. The flow is above average, which I prefer, and it's perfect with the extra fine nib. And of course my SDs always get a 10 for comfort. So that is my Esterbrook SD in Petrified Forest with Diamine Ancient Copper. The next pen is new to me in terms of I've only had it really since September, but this is the Pelikan M800 in the black green, and this one also has an extra fine nib, but it is in an 18 karat two-toned extra fine nib, and this is inked with Ferris wheel press Peter Moss. I absolutely loved this combination, and I was honestly reaching for this pen to write with it every single day. The Ferris wheel press Peter Moss is totally legible, and it shades beautifully. This is one of my favorite shades of green. The flow is above average, which is perfect, and then combined with the extra fine nib on the Pelikan, which is wetter anyway, great combination. And then the M800 is the ideal weight and width in my hand. So 10 out of 10 across the board in my Pelikan M800 green black with Ferris wheel press Peter Moss. The next pen is my Lamy 2000, and this is inked with Birmingham Pen Co. Heron. And just to say that I never thought that I was that interested in the Lamy 2000, but I just love how this fits in my hand. So I gave the ink a 10 because it does shade beautifully and it is a stunning blue teal. And I gave the flow a 9. It's about an above average flow in the Lamy 2000 extra fine nib. I find this pen in terms of comfort level a 9 because it is very comfortable. I wasn't expecting it to be, and I really do enjoy the overall writing experience. I didn't give it a 10 across the board just because it probably came second to my M800, but still a very enjoyable writing experience in my Lamy 2000 with Birmingham Pen Co. Heron. The next pen is the Leonardo Furore in Aqua Petra, and I mean, can we just again stare at this beautiful, beautiful resin with the blue and the purple and the green. Gorgeous combination. And this is inked up with Van Diemen's Aurora Australis, and this was actually the pen that I used in my 5-year journal for the whole month of September. No, October. So I gave the ink Van Diemen's Aurora Australis a 6 because while I love the base purple of this ink, the green sheen just took over, and then there were some times where I couldn't even see the purple. And then the flow is above average, so I gave it a 9, and the Furore is actually a very, very comfortable pen for me in width, weight, and shape, so I also gave it a 10 out of 10 for comfort. So that is my Leonardo Furore in Aqua Petra. The next pen is from Just Turnings with a blank that I had custom done by Tim of Turnt Pen Co. and we named it Swirly Joyful Kismet. And I love how Stephen of Just Turnings added the white finials with the metal clip. It just adds so much to that. And then the nib on this is currently the fine Yovo nib with a cursive smooth italic grind done by Jack Hernandez. Trying to get a focus on there. And the ink in this is currently Birmingham Pen Co. Fox Squirrel. So I gave the ink a 9 because I didn't think I would ever like browns, but this one was so warm and comforting and had great shading. The flow was a smooth flow out of this fine cursive smooth italic nib, and it showed off the line variation greatly. Comfort level, this pen is just that bit too narrow, like by a couple of millimeters, not even, which my hand is very, very sensitive to. This pen isn't too small, but the width diameter width of the pen body is maybe just a millimeter too narrow for me, but overall I still really love this combination. So that is my Just Turnings pen. I'm like trying to gap it. My Just Turnings pen with Birmingham Pen Co. Fox Squirrel. Last but not least, we have my Hogtown pens in the Taper M model, I believe it is, or the Adelaide model, I cannot remember now. Adelaide model, which is in the Paris and Bloom, and I had this done in a matte finish, and it is just stunning. Like, look at the way the material can sheen. Beautiful. And I have this inked with Diamine Earl Grey. So Diamine Earl Grey, I gave the ink a 10 because I really believe this should be a staple in any collection. I don't know why it took me so long to try this. The flow is a 10. It's got great shading, and it's more interesting than your regular black, and it flows beautifully out of my extra fine nib. Now this pen is beautiful, but would prefer a slightly wider pen. So, you know, if I ever do purchase from Hogtown Pens again, I'll get a slightly larger model. So that is my Hogtown pens in the Paris and Bloom with Diamine Earl Grey. So now for my October update. This is where I update on how many pens I've acquired, how many inks I've used up, things like that. So it looks very similar to, I'm going to pull out September here. There we go. Oh, nope. So yeah, September looks like that. I write down how many pens were purchased, sold, or given away, how many inks were acquired, and the totals left at the end of the month. So the month of October was quite a few acquisitions for me. There were 4 pens purchased this month. It was the Esterbrook ST Honeycomb with the needlepoint nib, the Pelican M800 Brown Black, which you will see a video of soon. And the Pilot Vanishing Point Forest Green and a Silver Burl. This one is a custom, so those are coming soon. There were 2 pens gifted to me. Those were the ones from Zodiac Pen Co., the Arabian Nights Koi, and the Carolina Agate. And then I sold 5 pens received. So this is different from how many I purchased, because sometimes I purchase things in one month but don't actually receive it until the following month due to just length in shipping time. So there were 5 pens received this month. And I sold 4 pens this month. So I had sold my Pelikan M605 in the green white stripes, as well as the Pelikan M400 in the white tortoise, to help fund the M800 in the brown black. And then I sold the Pilot Vanishing Point gunmetal, as well as the Narwhal Nautilus primary manipulation. So in terms of inks, I did not buy any bottles this month, and nor was I gifted any. I did give away 1 bottle though, and that was the Pelikan Rose Quartz. I did not buy any ink samples, and I wasn't gifted any this month, which was great. There were 5 ink samples that I finished or used, which really helps because there are quite a few in my collection that I need to get through. So I finished Dominant Industry Earl Grey Tea, Van Diemen's Aurora Australis, and there were, I think, a couple more. Diamine Ancient Copper, I'm literally on the last drops of that. And then I had given away a sample of the Herbon Emerald de Chavour. There was just a little bit left of that. And then the Ferris Wheel Press Spadina Rose. And then lastly, I'm going to go through the total, so where I'm sitting as of the end of October. And it's really important for me to do this so I can really see where my collection is at. So in terms of the number of pens, I'm at 32 pens. So I actually went up only 1, and that also includes 2 more pens on the way. In terms of ink samples, I am at 87, so I am actually down 4 from last month. And then for ink bottles, I'm at 38, which means I am down 1 from last month. So there is my overall currently inked update, as well as my progress report for October. I hope that this gives you some idea of how I keep track of all of my acquisitions. For me, this is really helpful to see it month on month. I also keep everything in a spreadsheet, just a really simple Google Docs. But this also is helpful for me so that I know what pen and ink combinations have worked really well, and therefore I can help base that on base my decisions on that in the future. All right, so if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a great day.